this guy's trying to work a deal with us and say, hey, I'll tell you where it's at. Don't take me to jail. I'll tell you where it's at. And so Kevin Smith pulled you out into the hallway and is like, hey, man, the guy's going, if you get your item back, will you just criminally trespass him? We won't file charges. Just let him go. And you agree to it. So you come back in the office and I'm in there talking to the guy. And he goes, y'all promise? You promise? He made me and Kevin Smith and you shake his hand saying we promised we wouldn't file charges or take him to jail. And so that was all good. And the next thing you know, he goes, it's under that curtain right there. And you got so mad.
I got so pissed.
I think because he did it.
Because he got me.
Yeah,
because he got me.
Yeah. You got so, no, I want him to go to jail. Take him to jail. And Kevin Smith's like, whoa. He's like, no. He's like, no, dude, Rob.
So I'm super happy that have this opportunity, not so much just for a recording, but just to be able to sit down and talk, like, because every time that we get together, it seems like, we have a very short amount of time because either you're really busy, tied up with stuff, or like in the past, like if it was at Walmart and stuff like that, I got stuff going on and, whatever it was. But I'm going to, without getting in too far into that part of it yet, I want to start by saying thank you, Chris Cary, for being here. We've known each other, and I know this now because I went through pictures on Facebook and I started to see how long it's been. We've known each other for quite a long time. I want to say it's close to 10 years.
Yeah, about
10 years. Yeah. So instead of me talking about you, tell me about yourself.
Okay. Well, first off, I'm 43 years old. I am married to my lovely wife, Kelly. September next month, we'll be married 15 years. We have 3 kids. I have a daughter, Emma, who just graduated high school. She just also finished CNA school. And she, I think, has changed her career again. She wanted to be nurse, and then she wanted to do radiology, but now she wants to be a nurse again. So she's trying to figure that out. She starts at MCC this month. And then I have a 14-year-old son, Ethan. He is a freshman in high school this year, first year playing JV football. He's a big old boy. He's 6 foot, 270, wears a size 14 shoe. He's big old. He makes me look tiny. And then my youngest, Emery, she is 12. She just turned 12 in February on Valentine's Day, and she's going into 7th grade, and she is my softball star.
Girl.
Yes.
Volleyball too, but more softball. Definitely more softball, right?
Oh, she keeps us busy all the time. Softball, it's nonstop every day. And every weekend.
And I see it. I see it all the time. And that's one of the things that I made sure I've got a whole bunch of pictures that maybe we can look at here in a little bit. But so yes, I love it that and this really kind of goes to what I knew what we were going to talk about is like being a great father. Like, and I know you are, but I said to talk about yourself. You did not say that, I started this and understand, I listened to you when you talk, but I can't remember where it was, but like you were on some kind of a base or something, right? Where you're a fireman, but it wasn't a base. What was that?
Oh, so I started out. So, May was 23 years I've been a firefighter.
Right.
So my first 3 years, I was a volunteer firefighter in my hometown, north of Lubbock, a little town called Hell Center.
Okay.
And after 3 years of volunteering, well, technically that's how long it took me to get into the fire academy. So back in the day, little story here, back in the day in 2000, when I started out in my firefighter, when I knew I wanted to be a firefighter, there was only a handful of fire academies in the state of Texas. It's not like it is now where you can go to high school or every big city has a fire academy. No, there was only like 5 fire academies in the state of Texas. And so I wanted to get into Texas A&M. There's a 5-year waiting list. I wanted to go to Tarrant County, but they don't offer housing, and you'd have to rent an apartment. Well, the academy's only 3 months long, and I wasn't planning on staying after 3 months, and you have to sign a 1-year lease. So I didn't go to Tarrant County. So my third option was Kilgore out in East Texas, and it's a really good school. Highly recommended, but it was a 3-year waiting list. They wanted you to have a sponsor. They wanted a city to sponsor you.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Well, I kept applying. Every time the academies rolled around, fall and spring, I was applying. And finally, my buddy who works for Plainview Fire Department up in the Panhandle just north of Hell Center, he talked to his chief, and he got his chief to sign a letter saying they would sponsor me to go to the fire academy. And so as soon as I got that letter, I went to the fire academy, and May was actually 20 years of career paid firefighter. So,
Wow.
I was a firefighter for Vernon Fire Department until 2007. I left there, and then I went to Waco and worked at L3 Communications
L3, okay,
as an
L3.
airport rescue firefighter.
L3. So that's where the whole base thing that I was coming from, it was because L3, like, and it's my lack of knowledge, like, to understand that. But like, no, that's cool. So like, how long were you at L3?
I was at L3 from September 2007 until August 31st of 2013.
Okay. And then so that's that. So, and that was
we actually, it's kind of a long story, but
no, you're good.
We got. So L3 is a private company, and they work on military aircraft. Mm-hmm. Well, due to politics and all that, I'm not going to get into that.
No,
but, they laid off all overhead. Mm-hmm. So they laid off the entire fire department, the entire security services, and they contracted out. Well, I was one of the lucky ones that got picked up by the contract company.
Okay.
Well, that lasted about not even a year, and they decided they didn't want to do that route. And so they gave the fire department to the city of Waco.
Okay.
So August 31st, 2013 was technically our last day. And I went on unemployment and I didn't know what I was going to do. At this time, I was, over 30, and it's really tough to get on fire departments, especially civil service fire departments. And I tested for Waco 3 times at that point, never got on in Waco. Passed the written and physical agility. For some reason, I just couldn't get past the interviews. And so I didn't know what I was going to do. And I never wanted to be a police officer, except I did want to be a police officer. And there's only one reason I wanted to be a police officer. Yeah. And that's because I wanted to be a fire marshal. I knew early on in my fire career, I wanted to be a fire marshal, but I didn't want to go to the police academy. I didn't want to be a police officer. So rock along a couple months, about October, my brother-in-law calls me and said, he works for Texas A&M University Police Department.
Okay.
And he says, hey, we have an opening. Do you have any college? And I said, yeah, I've got 66 hours of college. And he goes, we require 60. And he goes, you don't have to be certified. We'll send you to the police academy. And so I was like, well, let me talk to my wife. So I talked to Kelly, and I applied, wound up applying. And I actually was one of 6 they hired.
Wow.
So tested, did all physical, did all that stuff. And Texas A&M University hired me and actually sent me to the police academy.
There you go.
So we actually I started at the department in December of 2013. The academy didn't start till February 2014. So from February 2014 to June, I was in the police academy. And in the meantime, while we were doing that, they told me that I can't live in West anymore. So they said I had to move to College Station. The chief of the department did.
Okay.
And so we were looking at moving. We had put a contract on a house down there. My wife had found a job down there. My wife's a nurse. She had found a nursing job down there. Yeah. She's a pediatric home health nurse.
Yeah.
And we were getting ready to move to College Station. And I graduated police academy. We're 2 weeks in to the police academy, and I'm in FTO training. And my phone is on vibrate, and it just won't stop vibrating. So I'm like, what is happening? So I pull it out and look at it, and it's my wife. And I'm like, there must be something wrong.
Yeah.
So I told the FTO officer, I said, sir, my wife is blowing up my phone. I said, I don't know if it's a family emergency. I said, I need to go answer this.
Right.
She goes, go ahead. So I step out in the hallway, and I said hello. And the first words out of my wife's mouth were, I'm not moving.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, what are we going to do? She goes, figure it out. She goes, I'm not moving. And I'm stunned. I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Well, I finally get it out of her that the people that were going to buy our house, they couldn't get into our house.
Okay.
And so it fell through.
Right.
And so my wife's like, I didn't want to move anyway.
Right.
Even though College Station's nice, it's growing, and we kind of fell in love with it while I was in the academy down there. She wasn't moving because we had just built our house in 2012. Mm-hmm. So it was only a couple years old. And so long story, she goes, I'll call you right back. And I'm like, what?
You're like, what's going on here? What's going on?
And so I'm sitting down the hallway just twiddling my thumbs. About 10 minutes, she calls me, and she goes, go to Hillsboro and pick up the application. I have a friend that works there, and they're hiring.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And she goes, they do DPS. They're fire, EMS, and police. She goes, they're under one department.
Yeah,
At that time, I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know anybody that worked here, even though I lived in West. I didn't know a whole lot of people. And so I left Texas A&M in full police uniform, and I drove to Hillsboro, and I picked up an application, and that was June 26th of 2014. I tested here in Hillsboro on July 3rd, 2014, and my start date was August 4th, 2014. So in 2 days, I'm coming up on my 9-year anniversary here in Hillsboro.
No, that's awesome, man. That is so cool. That is, oh man. So like when, I know you said that, so you've been doing it for over 20 years, right?
Yes.
You say, how long has it been exactly?
So with volunteer and paid 23.
Mm-hmm. 23.
Page 20.
And you're 43, right? So when you're 20 years old, that's when you made the decision, like before. So I'm sure it was before then.
Yeah. And so I actually wanted to start out volunteering in high school.
Yeah.
And the bylaws of the volunteer fire department, you couldn't join until you're 21.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say that this has anything to do with it, but my dad was president of the bank in the town I grew up in.
No, I get
small
it.
town.
I get
he
it.
knows everybody.
Yeah.
And the chief of the department, whose name was Claude Barrett, his office was right next door to my dad's bank.
Right.
And so I tried, and finally it was it's probably May of 2000. Yeah, I guess it was May of 2000. He told me if they were going to rewrite the bylaws for me to join at the age of 20.
Yeah. No,
so
that's super cool. That is super
That's
cool.
where it started.
Man, like when you were talking about A&M, so it's your brother-in-law? Or who is it again that works?
Yeah, so it's my wife's brother, my brother-in-law.
Okay, brother-in-law that works for the police, right, at A&M?
Well, he did. So he was working there when I got hired on, and not too long after I left, he went to be a Texas game warden. So now he's a game warden.
Okay. Like I have a friend that I'm really, a really good friend of mine. His dad works for the police department at A&M.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Bob Dennis, like an amazing guy. And Nathan, his son, also works for, man, I don't want to lie, College Station Police. Like I don't know, I don't know exactly like where that's, or it might be the sheriff's department. But it was just so cool that like how. Like I don't really know anybody else, like friends connected with those friends or whatever. And then you just talk about somebody that works and does the same kind of job probably as Bob Dennis. And it's just so weird. Such a small world. You know what I mean?
World.
Because we've known each other a long time. We've talked about all kinds of things. A lot of times it's going to be silly, dumb stuff at Walmart, like, you know, or the cool stuff in the community. Like, I mean, that's the stuff that means more to me during those times. But then like we don't ever talk about that, and it's like that could have been a connection that we even had that was maybe stronger than any other one.
Yes.
So
I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna brag a little bit on you. You and Jimmy, when Jimmy was here, y'all did so much for our department with y'all's donations and your time. And look right there,
that's him, man.
Jimmy and you and Major Pruitt and Chief Kane.
Yep.
Yeah. Y'all were, I think, the community partners of the year that year. And so y'all did so much for our department with donations and just, you know, letting us have, I created this event called Meet Your First Responder. And y'all would allow us to have it in the parking lot of Walmart. Yeah. And one year we had the helicopter, and that got banned after that year.
Oh my gosh. I don't remember that kind of stuff until we talk about it. So, I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. So, I know that you got in contact with us, right? First, and that's like we want to do a community event and all that kind of stuff. And I was gung-ho. Jimmy was gung-ho. Let's do it. Jimmy is all about, he wants to be the best. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that if you are the best, and he was the best. You know what I mean? He still is. I just don't have communication with him as much anymore because he's not around these parts. But man, so he was like, how can we make this bigger? What all can we donate? Like, let's donate all these drinks. Let's donate all this stuff. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to come out there. We're going to get all the management team out there, whatever. He's like, Rob, I need you to do this and this and this. And then, I can't remember how it came up. Whose idea was it for the helicopter?
I think it was ours. I think it was mine because I invited the sheriff's department, DPS, our department, and I asked about if we could have the helicopter out there.
Yes.
And you're like,
I mean, I'm all about it. I'm all about it.
I think it was brought up there, but there was an issue at another Walmart somewhere. But Somehow we got it there.
So
but I think that was the last time.
So I realized that you have to get approval through corporate for some stuff, and I found out the hard way. So so I guess what happened was somehow corporate found out. I think I might have said, just gave them a heads up. Hey, we're gonna do this, just FYI, for security reasons, safety reasons. Just let the corporate office know we're gonna have a helicopter and police and everything else in our parking lot. We're gonna be safe and all that. And they were like, whoa, no, you cannot do that. And we're like, why? And like, there's so much liability with the helicopter. And I'm like, but they're gonna have people to make sure no one gets their head chopped off or something like that. That's always my biggest fear, because in the movies you see them duck their head like this. So I was like, that's not gonna happen. And they're like, what you don't understand is when those blades get close to the ground, they blow stuff that's on the ground. And I was like, okay, leaves, whatever. And they're like, no, rocks. And they're like, they sometimes can shoot into cars, shoot into people's legs and stuff like that. And they were just like, that happened in another Walmart, so you can't do it. And I don't remember what I did. I didn't pull any strings. I didn't do anything I wasn't supposed to, but like, they wound up saying yes to me, like the corporate did. I can't remember, but it was one of those things. But then it was so cool. And I don't remember if I shared the email with you afterwards, but it was like 2 days before the event, the entire corporation of Walmart, all the store managers, the safety managers, all that kind of stuff, they got the same announcement that said helicopters are no longer allowed on parking lots.
No, I didn't know that.
That was 2 days before the event. So I had to email them right back, and I said, but you said yes to me. And they're like, that's already been approved. And I was like, oh my gosh. So we were the last Walmart that got to have a helicopter on site for other than an emergency. You know what I mean? For community involvement. And that's what it was all about, dude. I'm telling you. And you know that, man, the kids that were there, the adults that were there, and because that's not the only time we did it, just the only time with the helicopter.
Yes.
So man, they love it, dude. And it's mainly because of the people involved, but like that just switches me over to all the community events that I've seen you do. And it's like, you're known in this town more than what you think you are. Like, I think you do know.
So I got promoted. So I started here in 2014.
Right.
And I did police work from August 2014 till April 2016 when I was actually promoted. But I was asked in November of 2015 if I wanted this position. Chief Kane asked me, tell me what he was thinking, and asked if I was interested. And I said, I'm your guy. I said, I'll do whatever you want me to do. And so I actually started as a community outreach officer in April 2016. And that's a cool shot.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was tasked with was creating events. Mm-hmm. And so with the help of Chief Kane and the city and, some of my ideas and just doing research, we came up with the Meet Your First Responder.
Yep.
And so we did that at Walmart. We did one at the Outlet Mall. Mm-hmm. And we've done several at Walmart. But then, we did Fun in the Park, where we go to the pocket parks and we set up water slides and cook hot dogs and all that stuff. So we've done that. We did a water balloon fight for a little while. And Coffee the Cop. Chief Kane's the one that brought up, came up with Coffee the Cop, did some research and gave it to me to start. And so we still do Coffee the Cop. I'm not as heavily involved now with my new position. I'm not as heavily involved with community outreach, but I still go to events, and I really don't plan events anymore, but I just kind of show up. So yeah, from 2016 to about 2020, around the time COVID started, I was at a lot of events. Yeah. During the spring, summer, and the fall, movies in the park. Yep. We started movies in the park. I was working 6, sometimes 7 days a week. Yep. I was going, to the city events. I was going to our events. I was going to school events, church events. If you named it, that was my job. I was there. I didn't say no to anything. Mm-hmm. And so, yes, it was a lot of work, but I love being in the community. Kind of crazy story is, prior to me being a police officer and going to the police academy, I was an introvert. I didn't talk to anybody. When I first got with Kelly and got to meet her family, we started having family functions. They thought I was not very nice. No,
I get it.
Because I didn't talk to anybody. She has a large family.
Yep.
And so I vapor locked.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't talk to anybody. I was real quiet. I didn't like large crowds.
Yep.
And so it became a shock to a lot of people when they found out that knew me personally that I was a community outreach officer.
Yeah.
Because I had to come out of my shell.
Yep.
I wasn't really good at speaking in front of large crowds. I'll never forget the first time I spoke to the Lions Club here in Hillsboro.
Mm-hmm.
I had a blast.
Yeah.
I had a blast. Yeah. And then a few months later, I had to go speak to the Rotary Club. And it was a totally different story, night and day. And I was nervous. I was like, oh, no, that didn't go good at all.
I've spoken in front of both of them, so yep. Okay.
So it took me, being the community outreach officer really got me out of my shell.
Yeah.
Got me comfortable. My dad calls me a politician just because I'm out there shaking hands and doing all that stuff. But I wouldn't trade the experience for anything. In my 9 years here, has been exceptional. Chief Kane is just an awesome guy.
He is.
And so just the department in whole, and I've really enjoyed being here. One of the things that Walmart did, talking about Walmart again, y'all did, especially you, donating the bikes. That was one of my community outreach. Y'all donated bikes. So I could give out bikes ever so often. We'd go to these community outreach events, and you'd put your name in the hat, and then I would have drawings at my office, and we had tricycles all the way up to mountain bikes. And so another thing we did that y'all were a huge help on is the box fans. We had the box fan drive.
I remember.
We haven't held one of those in a few years, but the box fans was, I'd set a date and time, and there'd be people lined up at my office 2 hours before.
I remember.
Just so they could get a box fan.
I remember. Yeah.
And so, Walmart and you, especially you when you were there, y'all were huge for our department. Probably for a few years, I know, we didn't have to pay for anything for National Night Out. Y'all donated everything from the bread to the lettuce to the cheese to you got with the vendors and for the sodas and the meat. And so you have been a really, for several years now, 9-10 years, a huge asset to our department. So
I appreciate that. And I'll say this, like I never was like a decision. I would say a full decision maker at Walmart. Like I was empowered by Jimmy. Jimmy empowered me. He said, Rob, whatever you want to do, all you gotta do is just do it, and then just don't leave me out to dry. Don't just tell me if it was something big, so then that way if I get a call from corporate office, I can explain it, whatever. And that was awesome. That was super awesome. And that's probably the biggest thing I miss about Walmart is having the ability to do what you want to do. And what I wanted to do was people that I found to be passionate and that were selfless, and they wanted to do something and that involved it involved some type of financial backing, whether that be like you're talking about National Night Out with the food, snacks, and all that kind of stuff, the bikes, the fans, all that kind of stuff. Dude, like, how could I not want to do that? You know what I mean? And stuff changes, and I get that. And like, I'm a teacher now. I love what I'm doing now.
You're doing a great job at it too.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I love what I'm doing, but it's one of those things I want to do the rest of my life. And I'm just finding ways to do it. You know what I mean? I want to find ways to do it. And I wish I would have caught his name now. But just as an example, I reached out to Universal Forest, the company here in town today, and was talking with Amy, someone that works there, and she helped me talk with her general manager and last minute get a $750 donation to the Good to Go from Head to Toe event that's happening Saturday.
Yes.
Tell me if that's not something awesome.
That is awesome.
This dude, all he did was say something to the effect, I'm sure to Amy, because I deal with Amy, but he said something to the effect of just tell me how much, you know what I mean? And let me explain this. So I just now got them the donation form today. That was probably around 2:00. By 3:45, Amy messaged me back and she said, we're good for $750. What's the address? Who do we make out the check to? And we're overnighting it. Like, dude, you know what I mean?
You don't remember his name?
Man, because I asked her what his name was right before we started this, and then I turned my phone off, so the airplane mode, so I didn't ever get the. Okay. I'm going to get it, and I'm gonna post it in like a caption. If he'll let me use his picture, then I'll throw it on the video too. But man, because here's the thing, that's not the first time he helped us out with. I believe it was either breakfast or lunch for new teachers back to school for the junior high. Like, this dude's just awesome. Man.
I have a feeling I know who it is.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Like, but he like without really knowing him and meeting him. Who do you think he reminds me of? Jimmy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's just like, I don't care, whatever it is. Like, he's the decision maker for the company. He's like, this company's got money. They're okay with me spending it. I'm going to spend it on something that's going to be good for my community, because that's whose parents work for me, is the ones that the kids go to the schools.
Yeah, I'd come out and talk to you and be, hey, Rob, this is what we got going. What can y'all do? And you'd bring Jimmy and we'd have a meeting with Jimmy. And you'd explain. Jimmy's like, yeah. Just do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, and he wasn't blowing you. Yeah, no. He wasn't blowing you off. It was just, it's just, man, that like when it goes back to what I said about him being a winner. Like, he's the best, dude. But he's the best because he's not going to waste time with something he knows that he's already going to say yes to, because I was already there before Jimmy came. You know that. Like, I was there when Rhonda, I think, was first there, and a few other store managers. But when Jimmy was there, he knew me. Me and him didn't get along at first. Like, I mean, but that was from when he worked in one of the Waco stores, I believe it was. And I went there, and my job when I was there was I'm there for inventory day. I'm not in charge of them in any way, shape, or form, but I'm the subject matter expert there to make sure their inventory goes good. He didn't like something that I brought up, and I'll be honest with you, he was right. What I brought up was petty, and you know what? I was pushed into it by my peers. They were like, "You just gonna let that happen? Let them build that unsafe display in the store?" And like, they were just pushing me. You know what I mean? And then so what did I do? Here comes Jimmy walking by. He's one of the managers at the store, and I was like, "Take care of that." And then he just ripped me on the sales floor. He ripped me up to pieces, and it was like, and I just took it, man. And I just took it. Like, I think I bit back at him, like, and said, "Well, you're gonna do it," that kind of thing. And that's not who that's not what I wanted to be. But then he came to my store, and we could have had that same relationship just continued on and just like mean to each other, disagreeing. But man, I'm not gonna take credit for it. He probably humbled himself first and said, "We're gonna be great. Me and you are gonna do great things together." Yeah. And it's like, we did.
And y'all did.
We did.
We all did.
Man, absolutely. Like it. I'm just glad that I got to be a part of it. That's the biggest thing. And I'm glad that the Walmart, the management team there allowed me to step away when I could to be involved with the community stuff. So
yeah, we are so thankful for Walmart's and still to this day, we still do things at Walmart. They want to train for, events. So Walmart has been great for our department. So. Yeah, community outreach partnership right there.
That was in West Texas. That was Westfest. That was Westfest. Yeah, we got Westfest. I wish I would have put the front of my truck on there, because I had that big, huge smiley face. There was a cardboard cutout that was hanging from the ceiling in Walmart. I mean, it was every bit of 6 foot in diameter, and I just had it zip tied to the grill of my truck. And so it just, like, when I took a picture of it, it looked like I just put an emoji over the front of my truck. It was awesome.
The only thing I remember about that day is I've gone to Westfest many times. Yeah. Been to the parade many times. I know it is a huge deal. But when you're actually in the parade and you're driving and you see the amount of people, I was actually just blown away. Yep, there we are.
Yeah, there's you. Oh, Lord. Look at Ethan.
He's little bitty.
Yeah. I'm trying to see. I don't even know if I made it in this picture. There's the twins. Yeah. Oh, there I am. There's Shelly. Shelly, Lord. John. And then look at these two knuckleheads right there.
Look at there.
Mike and Madison.
Man, what year was that?
Man,
18, 17, 18?
2018. September 1st, 2018. That is long time ago. Definitely a long time ago.
It flies by. It just seems like the other day.
That was the funnest time in my life. Like, as far as I got paid to do something I wanted to do. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know this. Is Westfest usually on a Saturday?
It's coming up the end of this month. Yeah, the Labor Day weekend.
Oh my gosh. So this was on a Saturday then, right?
That was on a Saturday.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Saturday morning.
I just want to point out something real quick. So this, and if just me looking at this, there's probably 15 or so Walmart employees right there. Every one of them was unpaid. Like, every one of them came out there wearing Walmart shirts, representing Walmart, throwing out candy, throwing out stuff, brought their kids. Like, over there, right here is Erica. That is Aaron's daughter, and then that's her other daughter right there, Legacy. And there's other kids too. Obviously, not obviously, but that little guy back there is Hunter. I'm hiding him, or he's hiding from everybody else. But they did this, and you brought your kids too. But they did this, and they didn't have to. That's the thing that I loved about it, because I really didn't even ask them. It was just, I kind of said, "Hey, if anybody wants to do it," and then they're like, "What time? I'm there." Yeah. Like, "Do you need help loading this? Do you need this?" And like that right there was that's what made me happy when I worked there. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, sure, catching a shoplifter, that's that little rush and stuff like that or whatever. But man, this stuff is what makes you happy. This is when you go home and you're happy at the end of the day.
Yes, and y'all provided so many things to throw out. I don't even remember what all we threw out, but that trailer was loaded down with stuff to throw out.
Oh, I remember. And I think we even had popsicles too, and like ice chests and stuff, but all kinds of stuff, man. Koozie, man, everything. We had all kinds of stuff just chunking out of that thing. Awesome. But that was an amazing experience. Me driving that truck was super scary because, like West Fest, like you throw stuff, dude, they're right there. They're a wall. And like, I'm just comparing this because this is how I do. Imagine that movie, Dawn of the Dead, when they're taking those two buses out of that mall parking lot and the zombies are just right there. That's how I felt like when I was driving, because you had to make a turn and it's like, little kid, please move, please move.
Especially when we got down there by the courthouse and turned on the main road that goes by the tracks. It was a very, very tight turn.
Yeah. So no, I remember that very, very well. And it's one of the things that I'm always going to remember and I'm super proud of. So, man, this is what I wanted to talk about because
look at there.
So this is like and I know we talked about this at Fun in the Park not too long ago, right? Was that Fun in the Park that was over there on Sycamore?
Sesquicentennial Park.
Yes. I'm not good at the names of the parks, but like I know what streets they're on and stuff like that. But we're over there and we're discussing it. Like this is one of y'all's hobbies that you do. Is you go around and you look at supercars and sports cars and stuff like that. So who got into it first? Was it you or was it him?
Oh, no. I was never into supercars. There's no telling how many supercars I've passed in my life and just never even thought about it. Could care less about them.
Yeah.
So my son, and I think it started at school with all his friends.
Yeah.
And, the Fast and the Furious movies and stuff like that.
Yep.
So he's the one that really got into the supercars, I would probably say 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
And he studies them. He watches YouTube videos on them. He follows famous YouTubers. One of the YouTubers, I don't know if I can mention his name on the show. Yeah. So his name's, he goes by GG Exotics.
Okay.
So he lives in the Dallas area.
Okay.
And he goes to a lot of these car shows and he has a $2 million Bugatti. He's got all these exotic cars and he brings them to the car shows. And so Ethan's met him a few times, got some pictures with him, and that just fueled his fire. I mean, just absolutely. Yeah. So he talks to several famous exotic car owners on TikTok.
Yep, I remember saying that.
And they respond back to his messages. I mean, they answer his questions. And so he just eats this up. So this car show right there, that last picture, this one right here, that's at up at Shields up in the Colony. So that place right there is called Lava Cantina. That's a restaurant right there.
Okay.
And so they do that once a month. And every time I've been, there's been 200 plus cars every time I've gone and several thousand people.
Right.
And it's on a Saturday. It's usually from like 9 to 11 or 9 to 12. And it's just millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of cars there. There's a Lamborghini and then there's a Lamborghini. Both those are Lamborghinis. One's an SUV.
Right.
And so that's the kind of stuff you see. Bugattis, Paganis, which are very expensive. The new, I don't even know the name of it. Hennessy Venom.
Yeah.
They have one of those there. And so he walks around and he just starts spewing facts about how many horsepower, how much they cost, the carbon fiber. So he studies this stuff.
So give me a guesstimate number. How many car shows have y'all been to like this? How many, just anything like this, cars like this related?
In the last couple of years, we've probably been to 20 plus, I know.
That's amazing, dude.
And a lot of times, honestly, when my daughter's playing, because my daughter's softball team, and I'm sure we'll talk about softball, but her softball team is out of the Plano, Frisco area. And so a lot of these car shows are up there in that area. Mm-hmm. And so when we go to softball tournaments up there, me and him will sneak off on a Saturday morning and before going to the games, we'll just go hit up some car shows. And so...
Yeah, no, like, and I thought it was really cool because whenever you said about 20, probably about 20, here's what I love, man. I love about you, and this is something that I was telling my wife about and other people in the last few days because I knew that we were going to talk. Dude, you inspired me, like, not because you were like, you ever came up to me and said, hey, you got to do this, like, to be a better father, here's what you can work on and stuff like that. But literally just from every time that we talked, your kids was always in the conversation. You could be there whenever you were there with Sergeant Jefferson for an apprehension for a shoplifter in my office, and your kids would come up. You'd be like, oh, yeah, Emery's got this going on or whatever, or Emma's doing this, or, it was just always something about your kids. And what I loved was that whenever I asked you who was into it first, first? Was it you or him? And you were like, no, not me. But that's awesome because he got into it, and you could have easily just like maybe watched a few videos and watched some Fast and the Furious movies or something like that. That's kind of like something I probably would have done before in the past. But no, you took him to those car shows, 20 plus, dude.
20 plus.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Like I don't know if I've taken my kids 20 plus times to the movies in their entire life. You know what I mean? And that's the typical thing that you would do with a kid. But to do that, man, that's awesome. So, that's him. So this is where I see on Facebook like all the time, every day, all day.
Yep, every day, all day. So this is Emery. Mm-hmm. She's my true athlete. Ethan plays football and he plays basketball, but that's not his number. That's not his. Mm-hmm. He likes playing, but that's not his thing.
Right.
He goes out there and he puts. He tries his best, but he doesn't put the work in. He doesn't study the game like this one does.
I get it.
She is a natural. I'm super proud of her. She started playing when she was 4 years old, and I'm telling you, we do not have to force her to go play ball. She takes it upon herself. She wants to play. She eats, sleeps, and breathes this stuff. She goes to the Baylor softball games, but she's not. That's not the school she wants to go to.
I get it.
But I'm telling you right now, this is no lie. Every softball player at Baylor University knows Emery.
That's awesome,
They
man.
have her on Instagram. They have her on Snapchat. They have her on TikTok.
Because they know.
They know. And she goes down there. She goes to their games, and she yells for them. She's gone to their camps. But this one right here she's going places. I'm super proud of her. And her drive is second to none. Don't want to sound like I'm conceited or we're bragging or anything like that.
No, you're good.
But at the end of each season, the spring season and the fall season, there are teams that reach out to my wife and say, hey, we want Emery. She doesn't even have to try out.
Right.
We want her.
Right.
And so that's honestly how we kind of wound up on the team we're on right now. They've wanted Emery for several years. And one of the teams we were on last year didn't work out, and we left early on in the season. And they had been wanting Emery, and we reached out to them, and they're like, yes, we want her. It's called the Phoenix 2K11. We want her, and you don't even have to come to practices.
That's crazy.
I've already talked. The coach is like, I've already talked to the parents.
Yeah,
they know how Emery is. So we went to a tournament. It's probably been a year and a half ago. We went to a tournament, and I think it was in Keller, and we just got smoked. And it wasn't with this team; it was another team we were with.
Yeah,
and we just got drilled. I mean, we didn't show up. We got knocked out of the tournament the first game on a Sunday morning, which is usually 8:00. We got knocked out. So we were home by like 11:00. She was in her uniform. We got out of the car. Didn't even have to say anything. She went and grabbed the net and her bat, and she went out there and started doing drill. We just played a weekend softball tournament, and she went out there and got her stuff and didn't have to tell her. She just started hitting and pitching and doing all that. So that's just what kind of drive she has.
Yep.
I'll tell you, she's just turned 12 in February. She was just clocked a couple weeks ago about 61 miles an hour.
That's wild.
So
yeah, there's no way I would stand in front of her, especially because it's so much closer than the
40
men
feet.
play.
40 feet.
Oh, dude, just take your head off. And I bet she is so accurate. I bet it's just,
and the spin on the ball and the movement, I don't catch her.
No, man.
My wife has permanent bruises from being hit by her because she pitches hard. She does. And bats, not only does she pitch well, she bats well, she fields well. She's just honestly an all-around athlete, and she's getting her name out there. Like I said, the team we joined this last year, they're out of the Plano, Frisco, Prosper area, and a lot of our tournaments are up there in that area. And so she's getting a lot of exposure. And so we're really hoping that the goal, if she doesn't get hurt or, God forbid something happen, she's going to go places.
Oh, absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind. Like anytime that me and Melinda talk about her, it's always like, it's a guaranteed. She's going to do whatever she wants to just because she can go to any college she wants to. Like that's our opinion. And I'm pretty sure it's going to happen to play softball. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like go there, do that she loves to do. And then also it could be the school of her choice for whatever she wants to do beyond that.
She, I think she actually mentioned the other day, she either wants to go to Oklahoma or UCLA.
Okay.
So those are her two right now.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to get her to go to Texas Tech, guns up. I don't know why she won't go.
No, that's another thing. Like, I know you were always like tech, and I was always UT.
Yeah.
And so no, I get it 100%.
Oh,
Yep. So I got this one. And like it's just working out to have these two together right now. So like, this is something I don't know a bunch about, but like Melinda knows more than I do with Emma and stuff like that. So when did you? How old was Emma whenever you first met her?
Well, that's kind of a crazy story. So when I went to work at L3 Communications in Waco in September of 2007,
Okay.
My lieutenant on my shift, I didn't know anybody in the area. I didn't know anybody. And I had a buddy who kind of got me to go to L3. We worked in Vernon together as firefighters. But shortly after I got to L3, he went to Lockheed Martin as a firefighter and now is an Irvin firefighter. So I didn't really know anybody. I was new to the area. I'm from Lubbock area. I'd never really been to Waco. Didn't know a soul when I came down here. And so Tim, my lieutenant, started, letting me hang out at his house. And so he introduced me to, at the time it was his fiance, and he had some stepchildren and he had a son. And I just started hanging out with him. We were going dove hunting and, he did some farming stuff and just kind of introducing me to people.
Right.
So after hanging out with Tim for a little while, I started noticing like every other weekend he was getting this girl.
Yeah.
And it was his daughter.
Right.
And so rock along, that's about September, October time frame. Him and his fiance were trying to set me up with a phlebotomist that worked at Hughley Hospital in Fort Worth because his fiance was a phlebotomist. And so we, went on a date and a couple double dates, and we were getting ready to go on a date, and this is in January of 2008.
Okay.
So rock along till January 2008.
Okay, gotcha.
A few months. So we're getting ready to go on a double date.
Yeah.
And before we go on this date, Tim's nephew was having a birthday party who lives in Abbott. And so we had to go to this birthday party. So we go to the birthday party, and I walk inside, and I'm not going to lie, I had a few drinks that day.
Yeah.
I've been drinking that day.
Yeah.
And I'm single, young, and went to this birthday party, and his daughter, Emma, came up and grabbed onto my leg, and I didn't know Emma's mom. Came up, grabbed onto my leg, started calling me daddy, daddy, daddy. And Tim's like, get off him, get off him. So I don't know anybody at this party except one lady. I know her. The rest of these people, I don't have a clue who they are. And there's a lot of people there. So they're starting introducing me to people. And like I said, I had a few drinks in me that day.
Yeah.
And so we meet everybody. We have cake, all that stuff. Well, we leave. Well, we're getting ready to leave. Well, we start walking out the door. Emma comes and latches onto my leg, and Daddy, don't go, Daddy, don't go. And Tim's like, get off him. Well, next thing I know, this young girl who I had met just a few minutes ago, who was sitting on the couch, blonde hair, kind of short, real curly, fizzy, who I thought was 13 years old. I'd been drinking. I didn't know. Here she comes. And Tim's like, oh, hey, this is Emma's mom, Kelly. And I'm like, what? So next thing I know, she grabs him and says, get off him. And we leave. We're gone. I don't think anything about it. Not a thing. So rock along. About 3 weeks later, I'm on duty at the fire station. And I'd been out doing some stuff in the fire truck. And I get back to the station and I walk into the lieutenant's office. He's my lieutenant.
Yeah.
And he hands me his phone. And he goes, here, this is for you. And I said, what? And I look at it. And so just a quick story here. I used to go by Drew Cary. So everybody, Drew Cary, that was my name. Some people still call me Drew that know me. So anyway, it says, hey, is that Drew guy? And that's how he introduced me that night, Drew Cary.
Yeah.
Hey, is that Drew guy single? If he is, give him my number.
Uh-oh.
Well, it was Kelly.
It's Kelly.
That was Emma's mom.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's weird. I'm like, because they have a child together.
Yeah.
Didn't work out.
Yeah.
And he's my lieutenant.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to hook me up with her. And I'm like, no, something's weird.
Yeah, something's going
weird.
on.
That's not registering with me.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So we were on duty 24 hours that day at the fire station. And it's about 8 o'clock. This was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it's about 8 o'clock now, and we have private bunks. And so I'm laying in my, you show my wife. I was looking at that.
No, you're good. No, you're good. Sorry.
Yeah. So I was laying in bed that night. She's beautiful. So I was laying in bed, and I was thinking about it. I was like, I don't know anybody. I was like, how am I going to meet people? I don't know anybody. And so I called her up. So I called her up. She answered. We talked until my shift changed at 7 o'clock that next morning. We talked all night long. We set up a date and everything. So a few weeks later, we went on our first date, and I took her to Razoo's in Fort Worth, and we went bowling, had a great time. When I got back to the house, so crazy thing is, I lived here in Hillsborough at the Meadow Apartments. When I first moved to this area. So I get back to the Meadow Apartments, and she leaves, and she was living in kind of out by Golson at the time. And I called my mom. My mom's a night owl, and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I called my mom, and I said, hey, and she goes, what are you doing? And I said, just got off my date, and I said, this is the one. And she goes, Christopher Lynn? She goes, you know how you are. Don't rush it. I was like, no, this is the one. I'm telling you, this is the one I'm going to marry. Yeah. So we started dating in February 2008, and I found out she was pregnant in April 2008. We got married September 5th, 2008, and my son was born December 12th, 2008. So 2008 was a great year.
2008 was the year, man. It
was the year.
Dang.
But anyway, so that's how, talking about Emma. I met Emma when she was about 2 years old, and got to know Emma. I went to a lot of events with Emma before I started dating Kelly, and me and Emma got to know each other. And so she was, 2 years old, fixed to turn 3 when I met Emma. Me and Emma, we've had and I don't mind talking about it, but we've had our ups and downs. There's been good times, but there's been some bad times. There was some bad times over the last couple of years, but here recently, right before she graduated high school, I decided to be the bigger person, and now that she's an adult, and just put everything in the past and try to make amends. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, we're getting along better than we have in years. Yeah. And I feel bad for the last couple of years how bad they went, but you know what? You grow as an adult, you grow as a human, and I've learned a lot over the last couple of years, and I let go of a lot of stuff. And but she is beautiful. I'm so proud of her. She had the opportunity to go on vacation with us this past in July. My daughter had a softball tournament in Destin, Florida, and she had the opportunity to go, but she decided to stay home because she wanted to go to CNA school. Yep. And so she actually stayed home, went to CNA school. Plus, she still works. She was going to school, and she works at Lynn's Pharmacy in Waco, or Belmead, as a pharmacy, assistant or whatever. And so now I think when she was going to CNA school, she, I think, decided she wants to change her career to nursing because she enjoyed it so much, helping the patients and stuff. So I think she's going to go back and hopefully maybe do some nursing stuff. But yeah, she's a sweet kid. She's got a great head on her shoulders. She's not a partier. Never got into, she's real quiet. She's a homebody. She likes sticking to herself. She doesn't like drama. And so, she's a beautiful young lady. And so I'm super proud of her. I can't wait to see what happens in the future. No, yeah. Look at that one in the middle. He swallows both of them up.
Man, I'll say this. I'll say this about you and Emma. I'm not known for being as very observant. But I think this goes to your favor. I didn't know until probably a year ago that Emma wasn't you and Kelly's daughter together. Okay. You know what I mean? I didn't. And then when I talked about it with Melinda yesterday, how I was like, I can't believe I didn't know that. And this is Melinda. This is how I know that I married the right one. And then I'm lucky that she chose me, is that she said, it's because he was such a great father that you wouldn't have, that's awesome. You wouldn't have thought that.
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? And it's because that's his daughter. You know what I mean?
And I never once introduced Emma from the time, even before me and Kelly were official married. Right. I never introduced her as my stepdaughter from day one. Yeah. It's always been my daughter.
That's your kid. So yeah. Absolutely. Now that's awesome, man. So again, that's what you mean to me, is you mean more than just you're really good fireman. You're really passionate about wanting to be a fire marshal. I knew that that's something you wanted to do before, probably within the first year of meeting you, because that's and that's awesome, because you knew what you wanted, you went for it. You're so much to me on that side of it, but the dad side is the side that Man, like I don't ever try to compete against other people. I compete against who I was yesterday. That's what I do every single day as a father. That's what I try to do as a husband and a teacher and everything. But man, I'm being real with you, and I'm not just trying to fill your head, man. Your bar's way up there, and my bar is raising. But man, so is yours.
That.
So there's gonna be.
I appreciate that.
You know, I mean,
you don't. I can't put into words how that makes me feel. I'm gonna be honest with you. From the time I graduated high school, I wanted to be a dad. And that's all that I knew. I wanted to be a husband. I knew I wanted to be a dad. And from 2000 to 2007, I only dated 3 people. 3 people. That's it. Because I was trying to find the right one. Yeah. And I probably could have said the right thing was do is I dated 15 girls to find out the right one. No, I was real. I wasn't. Picky. Yeah, I was real picky. I wasn't interested in, constant rotation of girls, dates and all that stuff. That wasn't me. And so I knew I wanted to find the right one. And it took me almost 8 years. And but Kelly's the love of my life, has been since the day we met. And she makes me who I am. She's so down to earth. She is so strong-headed. And just strong-willed, and once she gets something in her mind, that's what she's sticking with. She's really good at making sure that we're taken care of. She is selfless. So I have it easy, man. Thanks to her, I have it easy. She is the glue that holds all this together. She's the rock, and I just wake up and go to work and love life, and she's been there for me since day one, and we very rarely fight. All couples fight. No, we very absolutely. Rarely fight. If we do, it doesn't last long. She's probably the reason I'm bald. I'm just kidding. But she's absolutely a amazing human being. She had a rough life growing up, and I think she didn't want that for her kids, and so she's just I couldn't have asked for a better partner. So
that's awesome, man. Like it's really refreshing to hear like the great things in relationships and stuff like that. Like I know that y'all like were meant to be. You know what I mean? I know that just because like when you see people and you see certain couples, and I'm not ragging on anybody else, but like you see the ones that's like they're not putting a front on, they're not even trying. That's just who they are. Like that's who y'all are. And then you see the other ones that it's like, man, are they married? Like, are they friends or what's going on? But man, no, that's really cool. I'm super happy again that you were open to doing this with me. I really appreciate it. It means a lot.
When you asked me to do this, I was so excited, so stoked. I was so proud of you for starting this. I mean, I would have honestly never even dreamed of doing anything like this. This is just absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
And so when you started this not long ago, how long ago was it?
The idea was probably close to Christmas last year.
Okay. So
Christmas.
You've got this going really quick. And for me to be the, 7th guest?
Yeah.
I mean, just that, I can't really put into words because we have the type of relationship, we don't have to see each other every day.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk every day. But when we see each other, boom. I mean, it's like we're buddies. You know what I'm saying? And so for you to ask me to do this and tell me the things that you told me, about the reason why you wanted to do this, it blows me away because I don't think of myself like that. I don't think I'm that cool. You know what I'm saying? And so for you to talk like that, it makes me feel good. But I'm super proud that we're friends. Yeah. I'm glad that, my job and your job put us together, and we were able to create this friendship that we've had for. I've been here 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years. Yeah,
and 2 days. So I'll never forget my first time out at Walmart meeting you. Never forget it. I don't know if we have time to talk about that.
No, please tell me, because my memory is horrible. But then once you start it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Not gonna mention any names, but I was in FTO training, and
what's FTO training? It's just when you're training to be an officer.
Yeah, so it's field training, and so that's when you first start, and you have to go. Ours is about It's made for like 17 weeks, but you do about 12 weeks, and if you have to go longer, then you can. But so you there's 3 phases. You ride with 3 different FTO officers, field training officers, and the first phase is you're just pretty much observing. You ride around, they show you the streets, you're learning how police life, how it is, how it works.
Right.
And so I'm with Sergeant Jefferson. Phase, I heard crazy things about Sergeant Jefferson, and I was really nervous when I started with Sergeant Jefferson. I'm not going to lie. I was scared to death.
Yep.
And so it wasn't even a weekend, I don't think. We got a call for somebody that was at Walmart that wasn't supposed to be, had a criminal trespass.
Right.
We wind up finding the guy. And there's Sergeant Jefferson right there. Man, he's my buddy. He is so cool. I love Sergeant Jefferson.
I love him to death.
He treated me so good in FTO. We hit it off from day one, and we've been buddies ever since. But we had that guy at Walmart that was criminally trespassed, and I mean, he didn't fight us or nothing, but we got him to the cop car. Or I got him to the cop car, and we took him to jail. And when we got to jail, there's a bag of meth in the back floorboard. So, but I mean, we talked to you, so that was my first dealing with you. And then we had a lot of dealings out there at Walmart, crazy stuff. The guy that in your office, you wanted to take to jail, and that was funny.
No, you're so is that the one where like y'all get me to commit to not pressing charges?
So you had the Texas Longhorn curtain in your office, and the guy, you didn't know it at the time, but the guy threw the item underneath the curtain.
It was like a car charger or something like that. He threw up under the curtain where we didn't see it, so then that way whenever we go to look for it, it's not there.
Yeah, so it's me and Kevin Smith was there at the time, and this guy's trying to work a deal with us and say, hey, I'll tell you where it's at. Don't take me to jail. I'll tell you where it's at. And so Kevin Smith pulled you out into the hallway. It's like, hey man, the guy's going. If you get your item back, will you just criminally trespass him? We won't file charges. Just let him go. And you agree to it. So you come back in the office, and I'm in there talking to the guy, and he goes, y'all promise? You promise? He made me and Kevin Smith and you shake his hand, saying we promised we wouldn't file charges or take him to jail. And so. That was all good, and the next thing you know, he goes, "It's under that curtain right there," and you got so mad.
I got so pissed.
I think because he did it
because he got me.
Yeah,
got me.
Yeah, you got no. I want him to go to jail. Take him to jail. And Kevin Smith's like, "Whoa!" He's like, "No." He's like, no, dude, Rob, we had this deal worked out, man. Yeah. And so
he had to calm me down bad. Like that's one of the things. Like I will never forget it. Like as soon as you started talking about it, like I knew what story you were talking about. But it's one of those that I learned that day. I truly did, because it was one of those that my pride was so strong. Like I thought. I thought I was the best. I thought my stuff didn't stink when it came to catching shoplifters. I thought I was really, really good. I had him dead to rights. I'm putting my job on the line by accusing somebody of stealing something, and now he doesn't have it on him. And then come to find out that dude said he threw it up underneath the curtain and it was right there. Dude, I was so mad. It literally, it went red, and I forgot about everything we talked about, and it said, you're going to jail. And then I was like, oh, but I committed to these awesome officers that I'm not going to file charges. So no, for the record, I did not file charges. No, I did not file charges.
We just criminal trespass. He was free to go.
Yeah, so I did not file charges. And that's not something that honestly, I don't know if I've ever made a deal like that ever. Like, you know what I mean? But here's the thing. But like, y'all were looking out for me, and y'all were looking out for the company, and y'all were looking out for the situation. Yeah. And I appreciate that, man. Because like, I think I've told you this before, man, like with any company, especially Walmart, if you accuse someone of something, and they didn't do it, man, there's your job.
Yep,
there's your job. There's a lawsuit, and guess what? Walmart probably isn't going to protect you either, because you acted beyond their policy to do that, what they call apprehension. So, so
those wild times.
That was wild times.
I think there was one I worked out there. Somebody ran out of the store, and you walked out into the parking lot, and they backed into you, and we got them for, a charge for that. I remember that. So I don't think you were supposed to be running out into the parking lot chasing them either.
No. I mean, they changed the policy, and then, my memory, I forgot they changed the policy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so good times.
They can't fire me now, so it's okay. I was safe. Yeah, right? No one got hurt. But man, hey, I really appreciate it, but you are not ending this without one of your famous dad jokes. So you got to hit me with a dad joke, dude. Because I do it at school all the time to my kids, but you're the king, so I want to hear it.
So let me tell you. I got a few more minutes?
No, you're good.
So if you notice on my Facebook, if you follow me on any type of my social media, I don't post anything sad. I don't post any politics. I don't post anything sad. I try to post positive stuff. I try to post funny stuff. We already have enough sad stuff in this world.
I agree.
I'm not going to keep, spewing it out there. So
I agree.
I actually, a few years ago, you probably don't even know this. A few years ago, not very many people know this. I was going through a rough time. All the police killings and just the general stuff in the media, it's just all bad every day, all day. Yep. And so it was really getting to me. And so due to, and I'm not going to mention names because they probably don't want me to mention their names.
Yep.
But I had a couple people that knew something was up with me. Right. I was just off.
Right.
And they pulled me aside and they really cared about me. And they made sure I was okay. And from that time on, my whole outlook on life and things have changed. And so I don't post anything bad. I don't follow any news outlets. My wife said, "Hey, did you see this? Did you see that?" No, I don't. I didn't see it. I don't follow it.
Right.
Unless, I see it, somebody shares it on Twitter or something. Other than that, I don't look at that stuff because it's depressing every day. So dad jokes, I started doing dad jokes back during COVID. And that's when it all started. And so you can ask my wife, Kelly, I sit in the living room and I just laugh at myself. I just die laughing. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "That was a dad joke." So now she knows, hey, you got a dad joke. So I used to, when I first started doing dad jokes, I would text them to my wife and she would fall for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Oh my gosh.
Well, now if she even senses it's a dad joke, she doesn't even respond back to my text messages. So here's one of my dad jokes, and this is a story. So I'm gonna have two of them. Okay. So this one's actually a story.
I'm ready.
So last year, I saw this dad joke, and it had to do with police.
Okay.
And I just thought it was so funny. So I text my mom.
Okay.
And I said, "Hey, Mom," I said, "You'll never believe what I did today." And she sent back, she goes, "What?" And I said, "I bought shoes off a drug dealer. I bought tennis shoes off a drug dealer." She doesn't respond back to me. She calls me. She calls me on the phone. She's like, "What?" She goes, "What? Tell me what happened. What are you talking about?" And I said, "Yeah, I bought shoes off a drug dealer today." I said, "They need me to do some type of undercover work." And I said, "But I don't know what this drug dealer's shoes were laced with because I've been tripping all day." My mom, she didn't get it at first.
No, because
but when she did, oh my God. So my mom, she's the same as Kelly now. If she even senses that it's a dad joke, she won't answer me. When I tell her something now, she's like, "See, I don't even know if I need to believe you." She goes, "I can't believe you." She goes, "Is this true?" Every time I tell her something, "Are you telling me the truth? Is this one of your dad jokes?" So anyway, yeah, that's one of them. But the other one, you'll appreciate this one. This is a math one. How do you get into 100 math teachers into a room that only holds 99?
I don't know.
You carry the one.
It's so funny.
It's so stupid.
But it's funny because it's like, because you can't just take it as a joke that like, oh, that was corny, because you have to think a second. You're like, because you have to, you're carrying the one.
Yeah.
Can I steal that?
Yeah,
I'm definitely
absolutely.
stealing it.
And I try to find the dad jokes that aren't stupid. I try to find the ones where I can tell and people think it's a real.
Yeah,
and then
those are fun.
Then I zing the punchline in there.
Yep.
So but I love dad jokes. I post them. I haven't posted lately just because I've been super busy. But I used to post dad jokes a lot.
That's super cool. Like, and I'm just gonna say this real quick. So like, I'm one of my things is I love to do different things. I love to master it and then take that somewhere else. So you love dad jokes. I'm actually working on my first set for to do a stand up for an open mic night and stuff like that.
Nice.
So.
Awesome.
I'm with you.
Hey, so a crazy thing about these dad jokes I tell and post on Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and everything. One of Emery's former, one of the teams we were on, one of the moms is a teacher down in the Belton area.
Okay.
She used to take my dad jokes and print them off and give the kids, and that's how she taught them to write cursive.
Oh, wow.
Using my dad jokes.
That is
she
so
told me,
cool.
She goes, "That's how I use them to teach them to write cursive by using your dad jokes."
It gets their engagement too. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about it. And I'm not going to talk forever about this, but a lot of people don't understand about teaching kids. You can be good at teaching the subject and all that But really, if the kids don't want to learn, they're not going to want to learn. So I'm not, like I talk about this all the time. I barely graduated high school. I barely got my degree from college. You know, it took 6.5 years. And like, I'm a teacher and I'm a very successful teacher. It's not that I'm like the best knowledgeable. I could not tell you how to do certain functions, something that's barely above what I should be teaching, right? Barely could do that. But like, I have fun with these kids and they love being there and we make it fun. You know what I mean? So that's cool that teacher uses that as like an engagement tool because it's funny. They look forward to it. They're looking forward to the funny interactions and then they get to write it and stuff.
I was really humbled with, you know, or proud that she told me that. I was like, man, that's awesome that, you know, what I'm doing is she's using in her classroom. I thought that's pretty cool.
That's cool. You're making a difference in more than ways
man,
than you see.
You are too, man. You know, I'm super proud of you. Everything you're doing. I know you are everything you do, you're passionate about. That's one thing about you. Your family, your schooling, your projects you do, your Jeep. I mean, everything you do, you give 110%. And that's one thing you said, you know, that bar for you, my family, you know, is your bar.
Yep.
Your 100% effort is like that, you know, on my end for you. Not saying that I'm lazy, but sometimes I don't have the patience to, and I might have ADD. I just lose the drive pretty quickly.
I have ADHD.
But man, you do it. You go all the way. You go all the way. And there's a lot of times I wish I had that. So
I appreciate it, man. So again, thank you for coming on.
No, thanks for having me. I'm glad you asked me.
And I'm looking forward to doing some stuff in the community with you again really soon. And I know we're going to see each other more than just the occasional events, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So appreciate it, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yep, definitely.
Ready, set, go bananas.